the outline for it, but it never got beyond that stage for that reason.
Did anything bleed into season 3 from that? Or anything that could ever get developed?
No, I never used any of that material.
Okay. Okay, Kevin's question.
I just wondered, since Christy had said that she had written to Jim about questions, and I just kind of wondered about the interaction between Sunbow and Marvel Productions. Christy, you were, I believe, writing for Sunbow, and I know that the executive producer, Joe McCall, and Jay McCall was the creative director. But how did the labor kind of or supervising happen between Marvel Productions and Sunbow? And did you have any ability to veto things that were going on in the cartoon after the scripts were written, or?
Okay, that's kind of complex. Let's see. Basically, the person I dealt with 90% of the time, or on the creative level, was Jay McCall. Jay and I had a wonderful rapport. We would spend, long times on the phone talking, going over things. So he was everything kind of flowed through him. He was the point person. When I was unhappy, it was poor Jay that got to bear the brunt of it. Yeah, he's a wonderful, patient person. He was, a terrific person. And then on the production end, Carol Weitzman was the production person, point person for Sunbow, and she was the person that sort of ran herd on me, like if I was late or if I wasn't getting shit done, Carol was the one that would be on my case. And I think the only reason I communicated with Jim would just be because I often like to put reference materials together for something, like if I researched something and I wanted something to look a certain way, or I thought the artist might need some reference materials, I would tend to send Jim whatever kind of reference I had so that he could pass that along to the artist.
Oh, I actually have some of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's your handwriting or not, but there's magazine ref. I don't know if this is from you or not. Is there?
Yeah, I'm way back here, but I know I can pull it up. I'll let Michael have the mic while I go pull that up, and then Michael has your question.
So basically, I was so busy writing. I wrote like 33 out of 65 of these things, and then I did a little bit of story editing later on, and I was doing all the development work. So I was always really, really busy with that stuff. And Roger Slifer, meanwhile, would be story editing and handling all of the other scripts, and I would very rarely ever see anything. Once in a rare while, something would come across my desk for some reason. One of those was the time travel one, and I called up Jay and just ranted for half an hour in his ear about how much I hated the script and how wrong it was, and why we should not be doing something like that with Jim. And he was like not willing to kill the script, so I said, look, for free, I'm going to rewrite this thing because it's so bad. And he let me do that just because I was so upset. But generally, no, I didn't really have any control. All I could do was express my unhappiness about things, and that was about it.
Is that the one you want? Barbara, is that what you want?
Yeah. It's in the. It says Eric Raymond's security.
The secretary.
Secretary.
Jansen if he's in here. Jansen. Dressed as the cosplay.
And she's wearing the gloves.
Yes, she wears the gloves and all the nails. Jansen did that for cosplay a couple of years back.
There's
a whole bunch. Yeah, there's a whole bunch.
There's a packet that is.
Okay. I don't think that is my handwriting. Yeah, I don't think so. That's probably something they told me.
Yeah, it might have been reference they were pulling together just for the artwork that they were doing in-house.
My question is for Barbara Ann. I know you're fairly active on Instagram. Are you planning on making all this other material available for us
am so overwhelmed with, I mean, that's very generous to say that I'm being very active because it's so much stuff. I want it to get to people. I want people to own this stuff. I would love to get some money for it. But I also know, I know that I don't know how to do this. I honestly don't know how, I don't want to eBay crap to people at really high prices. I want to get, there's some beautiful things that I have that does not have the same value to me as it would to someone else. So yeah, the answer is yes, but I don't know how to do it.
And I'm mainly asking if you're gonna have it available for us to view online.
I mean, if I do that, why not just get it to the people that love it too?
Beautiful. You can make prints and some.
I know. I wish I didn't have 9-year-old triplets.
Somebody in here help this woman. I think we are a collective community. We can assist and help her get this stuff out. Let's do that.
Triplets, people.
It's single mom with 9-year-old triplets.
Wow.
You want to talk about being busy.
So
And she's an editor.
right. So I'm in burlesque, do all that stuff. So I am trying so hard. So it is a second job to just go through this paperwork and stuff. And I don't know if you can, and I also know all the GeoGeo stuff, just in case you're wondering. But yes, I want to get it out there. I want to post it. I hate Instagram. I hate the internet, but I want to also share this stuff because it shouldn't be in boxes, you know.
Yeah, when you're ready, I'll help you. We have another question from Liz in the back.
Hi, this is for Christy. Synergy says that she's developed for the entertainment industry, but I'm wondering if there's a little covert op kind of story behind it, and what do you think of how artificial intelligence has developed to almost the level of your development there?
So, this question, I guess you were asking, you cut out in a moment there, but I guess you were asking about why synergy was developed. You know, it's interesting. I don't think I gave it a whole lot of thought right at that point. It was just more like she was. She existed, and I just needed to deal with cramming it into these 6-minute segments, which didn't allow for a whole lot of, we got some backstory later, which I thought was wonderful. I think Into the Past is one of my favorite episodes. I worked closely with Charlie Marx to make that come out, and I really loved the way that came out. I thought that backstory was some great stuff. And if I were doing it again now, I would probably say that that Emmett was developing it, and there could have been interest, say, from defense or military in a way that he didn't like and didn't want it to fall into those hands or be used for those purposes. That would be the kind of tap I would probably take from it. In terms of what we're currently calling AI, it's not. It is not intelligence. They're LLMs. It's just a dumb machine that's doing machine learning and just kicking ass crap that is not integrated, it's not thinking, and people have to get it. AI is such a bad term because it's so wrong, it's so false for what it currently is, for what we're seeing out there. And I detest all this AI slop. That's I'm really detesting because it's destroying real creativity. It's taking away from authors, from writers, from artists, from people who are making videos. It's just putting a bunch of shit out there, instead of destroying the value of a real thing, of real creativity. And it doesn't have any real creativity. It's just generating stuff procedurally and doesn't think, it doesn't know anything. Maybe someday we'll have actual artificial intelligence, but at this point we don't. And there are good and valid uses for what it can do. I mean, I'm not saying that every single bit of it's evil. It does have some good and valid uses. But there's too much right now. It's just skewed too heavily towards what I think is very negative. And A1 sauce, yeah, right. Who was that? Some idiot.
Okay, yeah. Christy obviously doesn't feel very passionate.
I'm such a pushover. I mean, when I worked at Zynga, the game company, Zynga, I was a narrative designer there, meaning I did writing, tried to inject story into the games. And I just am who I am. I mean, you know how I am. And I got called in the carpet twice and told I was too intimidating. I mean, I almost got fired because they said I was too intimidating. Because, yeah, I have strong opinions. Like, I had to deal with it, you know?
So, we're going to have to close the questions out with Kennedy's question, but Christy and Barbara Ann will be back tomorrow and for another panel that Kennedy's moderating. So we'll ask more questions. You'll see them around tonight, too, and they're happy to talk to you. But Kennedy, what do you have to ask?
First of all, I just want to say thank you for coming here and just being here. This question's for Christy, and you've probably been asked this a bajillion times, but it was even the prompt for the fan fiction writing contest. What was the reasoning behind keeping Jem's secret for Rio?
Well, yeah, the funny thing is, when we thought it was only going to be these 15 segments, before we knew it was going to be an actual half-hour syndicated series, I had in my early notes, I was going to wrap it up. There was going to be a reveal. Rio was going to find out the truth, you know, and they worked their way through that and whatever. But then once Jay McCall found out that we were going to be picked up and go to an actual syndicated run, which is generally 65 half hours at that time. Not now, but at that time, syndicated stuff very commonly read 65 half hours. And so I think at that point, Jay said, you know, let's not reveal that. Let's keep that going because it creates a wonderful tension. And I mean, I know there's people out there that love to hate on Rio, but I love Rio. But it just creates a wonderful tension. That's a great romantic tension to have and to carry through in a series.
I think there is a plan somewhere around you to take care of it. Just keep playing up there.
You know, that was a storyboard artist that did that. You can go the real kicking the plant. I saw that, I'm like, who did that? It was certainly not in my script. And some storyboard artist thought it would be a great idea. I get how pissed off he was because having him kick the plant. I'm like,
You didn't stop a woman. What's his face dead? Okay, so